Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. And we're always thrilled to have you on with us. If you can join us live, which is always fun. And again, we know that many have to take in a podcast later, but we appreciate that. And Andrea, how are you? Number one on the hit parade this morning. And Brahim, you're right at the top. Mike from Norland, you guys, I'd like to know the secret. Jocelyn, how are you? Leela from Verner. And let's say hello to Karen from Peterborough. Good morning. Jude from Troy, New York. Nice to have you on. Fran from Orangeville. We appreciate it. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Wendy, good morning, from Markham. Nick from our staff. Kevin from Oshawa. Good morning, Kev. Donna, Park Hill. And Jeanette from our staff. Cecilia from Cold Sudbury. Never heard of it. Where is Sudbury? Elaine. Frida. Laurie, Niagara Falls. And Sandy. Two Sandys back to back. Karen, Little Britain. Etta. And Mara, how are you, Mara? Dave, nice to have you on. John from Elgin, Illinois. Norma, Medicine Hat, Alberta. Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. Madeleine, Kippawa, Quebec. Donna, Belle Ewert. And Cecilia saying hi to Sue. And Dave saying hi to Brenda. And Denise, how are you? I love when you guys say hi to each other. Donna, Linda from Uppsala, Laurie from Cambridge, and Tina from Nova Scotia. We love this group. Sharon says she's flying in the clouds. Ashley, good morning to ya. Brenda and Rosalinda, freezing up in the clouds in Niagara Falls. Nativity. How are you, Donna? Everywhere there seems to be a deep freeze. Millica, Carol, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Maureen from Penticton, British Columbia. It would be bright and early out there, wouldn't it? Barbara, Maureen. Couple more, guys. Yvonne from Petawawa, good morning to you. Francis, Vaughn, and Catherine, Newfoundland. Mary, PEI. Carol, West Virginia. Gary, how are you? Gary's got the wood stove going. Margie, Kansas. Elaine, good morning. Micheline, how are you? And Ornella, how are you? Judy, from the clouds. Kitty, Kelowna. And Lorraine saying hello. Brenda, how are you? And Karen and Caroline and Olga. Hi, Olga. And Nellie, how are you? And Nellie and Sue. You guys are great. We appreciate you. Janice, thanks for coming on, guys. Elaine, okay, let's get going. Now, okay, so just a little recap of yesterday's program, so we'll lead into this morning's. I promise I'm not going to go over everything, okay? We had such good feedback on yesterday's program. 2 new studies, let me just tell them to you again. Journal of Nature, Edinburgh, Scotland. They followed 8,000 people for 25 years. Holy moly, how do you do that? Anyways, they did it. And here's their conclusion, written up in the Journal of Nature. Less than 6 hours of sleep. People that were in this 8,000 that they follow. People that on average slept less than 6 hours, okay, a night, had a 30% increase in Alzheimer's, okay? And yesterday we talked about that. We went into your brain has a self-cleaning oven. Well, your body has a self-cleaning oven, but your brain specifically is very specific. It's called your glymphatic system and your glial cells, okay? G-L-I-A-L, glial, okay? Another study, we looked at this, okay? Sleep and aging. So when you get a good night's sleep, it's anti-aging, okay? Because this study out of Harvard, 4,000 patients, and they found when you don't sleep properly, you get your biological age increases by 9 years, okay? And what did they do? What did they measure? Well, they measured your telomeres. You know what telomeres are? Unbelievable that we have telomeres. Guys, when I was in school, there was no such thing that we knew about. But now we know your DNA, your cells have a little wick. I think of a telomere like a wick of a candle. And the longer your telomeres are, the longer you live. Well, we didn't even know you had such a thing. But they can measure the length of your telomeres. So when they got people who didn't sleep properly, they found that their cortisol was high. Interesting, isn't it? We'll talk about that this morning. And secondly, their telomeres were shorter, thus aging. And I would add probably free radical damage, oxidation at a higher rate, inflammation when you don't sleep. If your cortisol is up, it pours gasoline on inflammation, silent inflammation. You don't necessarily have to have pain, with inflammation. Okay. So those are those two studies. I want to add one more this morning. And it's a study on sleep and the immune system. Do you know, according to this study, that just missing one good night of sleep will throw your immune system off? Okay? I was doing Nikki Ballou's podcast last week, and I mentioned this. Isn't it interesting that people, they save up and they get ready, they go on a trip, in the wintertime or whatever, and they want to get down to the Caribbean. And if you live in Canada, who can blame you? You want to get out of Dodge and get some heat, but you got to get up early, you got to catch a flight, or you're jumping on a cruise or whatever it is. Here's what they found with this study. Your immune system is affected. Your T cells, your Navy SEALs, they don't work as well. They sort of take a siesta, almost like you're consuming sugar. And what happens? You can get a nasty cold or a nasty bug just by missing one night of sleep. Okay? Now, guys, who hasn't missed one night of sleep? Okay? But I'm just telling you physiologically what happens to your body. If you understand that, you'll do everything you can. Okay? And this is why I tell people, just on the immune system thing, don't leave home without it. Not your American Express, but probiotics. Okay? And I even recommend, in the wintertime, doing the vitamin D hammer. Okay? You know what the hammer is? 3 days of 50,000 IUs of vitamin D. Okay? Doing the vitamin D hammer. I've seen that with work with such great effectiveness. Okay. Now, Let's get into part 2 of sleep. Okay? What should we do? Okay, and some of this, guys, is all repetition, rinse and repeat, but I got to go through it anyways, okay? So I wrote down, how many points do I got here? 9. I'll probably end up with more than that. Okay, if you're taking notes, here's what to do. And many of you, I'm sure, are doing all these things. We talked about this, and I talk about this all the time. Okay? What should you shoot for? Everybody's different, but here's what we know. The sweet spot of sleep is between 6 and 8 hours. Shoot for that. 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Okay? Try and shoot for that. Remember, 75% of the population have trouble with sleeping. It's an epidemic today. We live in a different world than it used to be. And I talked to you yesterday about sleep apnea. Never heard of it in the 70s. I never heard of it in the 80s. I'm trying to think if I heard about it in the 90s. I think so. I wish I would have invested money in sleep apnea machines. I'd be a multi-gazillionaire today. Okay? Who knew? What were they talking about? I'm an old guy. I never heard of sleep apnea. What I tell you yesterday, it's fatty tongue. Anywho, okay, let's get back, okay? 1, here's point number 1. Fast before going to bed. Don't eat. The sweet spot for that is at least 3 hours. Longer, the better. Okay, and it makes sense. Think about it. You don't want your body in high mode of digestion. It takes about 5 hours, depending on what you eat. It takes you about 5 hours to completely digest and assimilate all your nutrients, okay? But if you get at least 3 hours where you haven't eaten and then you go to sleep, the last part of your digestion you can do in bed, okay? You can. Okay, so, but anyway, it's not easy. Like I said, a lot of people, they eat late, they work late and whatever, and guys, do everything you can, do the best you can. But the best advice is try to stop eating. Okay? And somebody asked me, why not talk about it just for a second, about intermittent fasting yesterday. Somebody asked me about it. And I said, well, I like intermittent fasting. Okay? I do. It's not the be all and end all of everything, but it is. I like when you give your body a chance to turn that self-cleaning oven on, especially your brain. Don't eat. And you know what? It's easy to do intermittent fasting. It's easy because if you, let's say, for example, you stopped eating at 6 o'clock at night and you didn't eat till 8 o'clock the next morning. Well, now you're at 14 hours. If you can go to 10 o'clock, hey, look what you've done. Now, I'm a big guy on fasting without fasting. Okay, what do I mean by that? It all has to do with fuel. Okay, it all has to do with fuel. When you eat eggs, meat, and cheese, dairy, okay, not the store-bought milk, I don't like that stuff, but I like dairy, guys, okay? I like butter. I like cream. I love that fat in dairy, okay? It's good for you. And it really is fasting without fasting. Now, not at night, okay, guys? Not at night. But when you're not using insulin or using very little, I call that fasting without fasting. Okay? Anywho, what happens if you do eat? Well, your blood sugar is up. Your cortisol goes up. You're not into fat burning. You know, a lot of people don't realize this. One of the best times to burn fat in your body is when you're sleeping. Your body will burn the fat. But not if you're not into a deep sleep, and not if you ate and you're still trying to digest. And it elevates your cortisol. And one of the big effects of cortisol, especially in women, is belly fat. Okay, stop eating. Don't take sleeping pills. Okay? Now, guys, you've heard this on this program, and I'm going to repeat it again. When you take a sleeping pill, you're not sleeping. You're sedated. Big difference. Okay? You're sedated. And sedation, your self-cleaning oven of your brain is not working. Okay? Listen, there's nobody more sympathetic than me to people that can't sleep. Doc, if I don't take a sleeping pill, I can't sleep. I said, well, just understand, you're not sleeping. You're knocked out. And look, and I'm very sympathetic. I hate the thought that you're awake all night. Okay? But just understand that your sedation is not sleeping. Okay? Sedation is not sleeping. And to some extent, okay, and I just say this because I'm going to fill in the blank a little bit more in a minute. But melatonin as a supplement, be very careful with that. Okay? I love melatonin because your body makes it. But I don't necessarily like it so much as a supplement. It's not like taking a sleeping pill, but it can, it can knock you out and sedate you to some extent. So I was not really big on melatonin, other than I'll show you in a minute. Let's talk about it. Okay. Point number 3. Sunlight in the morning. Okay? Now I'm looking outside right now and I see the sun. Do you know that I'm getting melatonin just by doing that? Yep. Your body is topping up its melatonin through the eyeballs to the inner eye, the third eye, your pineal gland. Okay? Your body produces melatonin. Okay? When you see melatonin on the shelf, your body makes that. And it's better if you do it. The sun's out. I'm not looking directly at the sun, of course. That's why even in the winter time, guys, okay, when it's 40 below and the sun's out, you get melatonin. Yeah. You don't get vitamin D from the sun if it's 40 below. Okay. You're not getting vitamin D, but you're getting melatonin. Okay? So, sun in the morning, okay? And dark at night. Okay? So, guys, there's 3 types of mass. Okay? And now I'm going to get a little stupid. Okay? There are 3 types of mask. There's the surgery mask, which is good for surgery, which is stupid for anything else. Okay? I told you I was going to get stupid. Wearing a mask here is good for the surgeon. Okay? So he doesn't, on open wounds, spit up and whatever on you, okay? Or on the patient. But you know what that mask does for a virus? Nothing. Zero. Nada. It doesn't protect you, and it doesn't protect the other person. It's silliness. And guys, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. It really is craziness. Okay? Because even if let's say it worked over your nose and your mouth. Let's say it worked. The second you touch your eyes, a virus can get in through your eyes. It doesn't make any sense. Anywho, okay? Anywho, guys, you know I've been consistent about that. The real mask is the invisible one that you should be wearing. It's called vitamin A. And nobody likes to talk about vitamin A too much because 100 years ago, they scared the living life out of people on vitamin A because it was a fat-soluble vitamin. They did the same thing with vitamin D. Ooh, I get so upset about that. Vitamin A. And by the way, you don't even have to take it as a supplement. No, you don't. Just eat steak. Well, as a matter of fact, if you eat eggs, meat, and cheese, you're going to get vitamin A. And you'll be wearing your invisible mask. And by the way, that mask doesn't only cover your mouth and cover your nose, it'll cover your eyes. And you don't even know you have it on. How do you like a mask like that? Ooh, I get a migraine when I hear stupidity. I can't stand it. Okay? I can't stand it. And then the third mask is one that everyone should wear. And the mask to go to sleep. Cover your eyes. Why? Dr. Martin, why should I do that? Because that's when you produce melatonin in complete darkness. Sunlight in the morning, darkness at night. Turn your stinking phones off. But the best thing is to wear a mask. Cover your eyes. Okay? Cover your eyes. And your body produces more melatonin. More melatonin, not in a supplement. Sleepy. Okay? People, I'm telling you, anyway, I could do a whole thing on masks. It drives me mental. I can't stand it. Okay, why did I get into that? Okay, just because I wanted to. Okay. I see people today wearing a mask. I was in the grocery store yesterday. I saw someone with a mask, and I wanted to go over to them and say, what are you wearing that for? Why do you have that on? It's not helping you, nor is it helping me. Oh, okay. I promise I won't bring it up again. Okay. Dark at night. Cool room. This is science, by the way. There's so much research being done on sleep compared to what it used to be. You know, what did we know about sleep 50 years ago? Well, not much compared to today. Because they can study everything. And you know what? They say, get a cooler room. I like to see my breath at night. It's so cold. But you sleep better. Hey, don't shoot the messenger. Okay, cool room. Try and be consistent. Study after study has shown, if you can get to bed at a consistent time, I laugh because my grandchildren think Grandpa's funny, okay? Because they go, Grandpa, it's 8 o'clock at night and you're getting ready for bed already? You know, like they can't understand that. You know, they're getting wound up and I'm getting ready to go to bed. I said, well, I get up early in the morning. Okay, my big part of the day is in the morning. You guys sleep your morning away. Not me. I'm up. I got to go to bed at night, okay? But guys, I'm telling you, okay, try and be consistent. Check for deficiencies. Okay, check for deficiencies. Okay, this is just what I saw. Okay, people that had trouble. Number one, they had low level, not always, but a lot of times. Okay, it wasn't always this way, but it was often this way. They were low in vitamin D. Oh, here we go with vitamin D again. Is there anything that vitamin D doesn't do for you? The sun. Vitamin D. Oh, I get so... People avoid the sun. Why do you avoid the sun? Well, my doctor said. Ooh. You need the sun, vitamin D. And if you don't see the sun, and by the way, if the sun is out and it's winter in your area, okay, you're not getting vitamin D, but you're getting melatonin. So now take vitamin D. I'm big on that. It's a supplement you need, even for sleep. Low in B12. Consistently. Low in B12. B12, you know, someone on the private Facebook group yesterday was asking a good question. What does Dr. Martin think about B1? Well, I don't think about it at all. I like it. It's good for you. But I don't think you need to take it as a supplement. You need to eat it. Eat your B vitamins. Have steak. You have your B vitamins. Hamburger. You got all your B vitamins. How do you like that? Okay. I don't want you, look, I mean, I sometimes would give a B complex because I have it in my multi-nutrient, formerly called Blood Boost. And by the way, if anyone can find a multi-nutrient vitamin like our multi-nutrient liquid, well, good luck with that. Okay? It's such a popular product, but it's got everything in it on steroids, meaning that lots of it. But I gave it to people that were they were lethargic, their blood wasn't built up. I used to analyze their blood. When I looked at their blood, their red blood cells, were few and far between and oftentimes dormant. They weren't doing much. And these people are exhausted, and I gave them, B vitamins are all right, but just to take a B vitamin other than B12, because B12 is very specific, guys. And unfortunately, the way B12 is made, the chemistry behind B12, it's a finicky vitamin. It's hard to get on the best of days, and the only place it's really found is in red meat. So if any doctor, any nutritionist, any guru of any kind tells you not to eat red meat, run, Forrest, run. Because they don't know what they're talking about. When they tell you that red meat is carcinogenic, I tell them, I'm sorry, but you do not know what you're talking about. You need B12. And I had a lot of people supplementing with B12 because they didn't have a good digestive tract to start off with, and they were very deficient in it. And you know what? If your majority of your diet consists of chicken and salad, I'm sorry, you're going to be low in B12. Oh, my doctor said my B12's fine. Well, I'm sorry, that B12 test is 100 years old, should be put to bed. And secondly, you need to optimize your B12. You need optimal levels. And I found with people that don't sleep properly, they weren't optimized. They were low in B12. B12 is a brain vitamin. B12 helps the repair in your brain, the glymphatic system, the self-cleaning oven of your brain. Need B12, need vitamin D, need magnesium. often deficient in magnesium. You know, a good way to get magnesium, by the way, okay? A good way to get it, an Epsom salt bath. That's magnesium salts. I've only been telling patients that for 50 years. You got trouble sleeping? About an hour before bed, go take a hot bath with Epsom salts. Put a cup in there, or two. Okay, in your bath. Epsom salts are magnesium salts. Okay. Deficient in, often deficient in omega-3 too. Here we get back to, these are basics, guys. Basics. Okay? Things that people are very deficient in. They just don't get enough omega-3, especially in this day and age. Because of those seed oils, because of all the processed foods. Those are so high in omega-6. And, omega must be good. Nah, if your omega-6 is too high compared to your omega-3, that ain't good. It creates inflammation in the body. And a low-grade inflammation will keep you from getting a good night's sleep. Lower that. That's why all of the things that I talk to you are anti-inflammatory. Vitamin D, B12 is anti-inflammatory. Magnesium, anti-inflammatory. Omega-3, big time. High DHA is the best of the omega-3s. Okay? That's what we're so deficient in today. Okay. Drink coffee, but it's got to be decaf at night. You guys know me in vitamin C, the real one. And decaf has vitamin C, okay? The real vitamin C. But it's got to be decaf, guys. Don't drink a coffee. When I was under 50, I can have a coffee just before bed and don't affect me. But I'll tell you, I think the day that I hit 50 years old, I couldn't drink coffee at night anymore. I had to flip it to decaf. Make sure it's Swiss water. Decaffeinated. Okay? Anywho. And here's an important one. Okay? Point number 9, I think. Did I do them all? Yep. Get your cortisol down. Cortisol is, remember, get your cortisol down. That's really important. And guys, you know me, so you might as well just hear it out, okay? I talked about cortisol before. I gave you a history yesterday of my interest in sleep, okay? And studying sleep, which started in the 80s with the yuppie flu, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. And I think, as far as I know, the very first guy to write a book about chronic fatigue and mentioning that it was and fibromyalgia, it was an adrenal gland exhaustion. Okay? Your little chestnut shaped glands on top of your kidneys, adrenal. And they secrete cortisol. And cortisol's on your side, guys, till it isn't. Cortisol, you need it. It helps to wake you up. It helps to get you going. It helps you in the fight or flight. But if cortisol is high when you're going to bed, I'm sorry, you're just not going to get into a good sleep because cortisol is meant to wake you up. It takes you out of the rest and digest phase. And today, I venture to say this, and I think I'm right. 80% of the population or more have high levels of cortisol at night, when it should be the opposite. They're wound up. And your body's not supposed to be wound up. Get your cortisol down. If you can't do it on your own, I can help you. That's why we created the cortisol formula. And it's not just one thing. I think I have 8 ingredients in there. And they're all meant to lower cortisol. Now, exercise during the day lowers cortisol. Sunlight lowers cortisol. Okay? But if you need help, lower your cortisol, because if your cortisol's high, you ain't getting into the 5 stages of sleep. I'm sorry, you're just not going to be able to do it. Okay. I think that's all I wanted to say. Is it? Yeah, I think so. Okay. You know what tomorrow is? It's question and answer Friday. So what do you do about that? Well, you send in your questions and send them in, guys. Like, I know sometimes you put questions in the scroll and I don't see them. What I'm doing the program, I'm glad at the start of the program, I love waving at you guys and saying hello. You know that. Okay? We do a little bit of a roll call, and that's good. I love it because you guys are so faithful. I love you. Okay? But if you ask me a question in the scroll, I'm sorry, I don't see it. If you want that question answered, could I get you to send the question by email to info@martinclinic.com? Info@martinclinic.com. Believe you me, I will see that question. Then I can answer it. Okay? And we love it. We love questions. All of our shows are based on, I know we have question and answer Friday and Mondays and sometimes Tuesdays and whatever, but everything I do just about comes from people's questions. Okay? All our podcasts are pretty well based on that, even though I bring out studies and things like that and articles. Okay, guys. I forgot to breathe for 30 minutes. Okay, now I'm breathing. Guys, we love you dearly, sincerely. You're the best. By the way, what makes the Doctor Is In podcast? See that sign behind me? What makes that podcast so successful? You. Not me. You. Where would we be without you? We love you. Talk to you soon.